Welcome to The Beam, where curiosity stirs conversations, taking us a step further into the future we desire. Here we bring you the issues that matter, the voices that challenge, and the insights that inspire. I'm Sunes Nathaniel, and before we get into our conversation today, we'll be bringing you a spotlight. Stay with us. When we come back, we have a very important conversation for you. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
It's an impressive turnout of passengers at the Idu train station, one of Nigeria's major intercity rail links, as travelers head to Kaduna for the Christmas festivities. Found in a queue, they go through the ticketing and security checks and are led into the waiting room. The Nigeria Railway Corporation is assuring of heightened security presence on board the trains and the decision to discount tickets nationwide.
The tickets are being discounted. The business class from 6,500 is discounted to 3,250. Then the standard class, we charge 3,600 before, and now we are charging 1,800.
It's then boarding time, and passengers make their way to the train.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
On board the train, the atmosphere is a blend of anticipation and festive spirits, with families laden with luggage and holiday parcels filling both the economy and executive coaches. The train then departs the Idu station for the 3-hour journey to Rigasa, Kaduna State, with a scheduled stop at the Kubwa train terminal. Some of the passengers who spoke to Channels Television cited security challenges on major highways, comfort and predictable travel time as their reason for choosing rail transport, particularly this season.
You know, train is safer and it's cheaper also. And you see the roads are very bad from here to Kaduna, more especially when you reach from Jere to Katari. You can spend 3 hours, 4 hours before you reach Kaduna. But in train, within 2 to 3 hours, you'll be in Kaduna.
Train is the safest, I feel, and I know it's the safest, and also the comfortability, and also the cheapest.
They also urged the government to provide more coaches, increase the frequency of rides, and improve the ticketing system.
The people that are saddled with the responsibility of the ticket process here, we can do better.
Before, daily they have 3 tiers, but now we have only 1 due to maybe a shortage of the coaches. So I appeal to federal government just to do well in transportation of this train.
This is the Kubwa terminal where the Kaduna-bound train made its first stop. While some passengers alighted here, others boarded as the train makes its onward journey to Rigasa in Kaduna State. As road transport becomes increasingly challenging this peak season, more Nigerians are turning to rail transport as a dependable alternative. And for those on board today's journey, the trains are not just a means of convenience, but peace of mind. From the Kubwa terminal, Victoria Longjohn, Channels Television News.
All right, welcome back. Nigeria is a country bursting with stories, films, music, fashion, digital content. Yet the question remains, why does so much talent produce so little structural wealth? The creative industry is often celebrated as our future, but celebration alone does not build economies. So today we are asking the harder question, is Nigeria serious about turning creativity into power? Or are we still running on talent without infrastructure? Joining me now is Saliu Yakub, Nigeria's filmmaker, creative industry expert, and cultural development advocate with over decades of Hollywood experience. You are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
All right, yes, this is your first time on The Beam, and it's important because we're looking at tech meeting, film meeting, economy, looking at business. So we're trying to juxtapose all this together.
Yes.
And so let's begin with the question. With the decades you have in Hollywood, you turned out to be something very, very special, especially from where we come from.
Yeah.
Now, that attention is supposed to change. What has changed now when it comes to the attention in Hollywood back to Nollywood? Why is that attention changing right now?
Well, I'll give you a little bit, my background into Nollywood. I'm in Hollywood. I attended Columbia College in 1981. Precisely, I landed in California in 1981, September. And I went to Columbia College, which is a film school biased basically in filmmaking and some television, this thing. But most Nigerians were there, but they are from film. They are sponsored by, TV stations, some by NTA. But I was the only one in our class of the fall of 1981 who went specifically, mine is to get education, then break into the industry. So I did 1 semester, 2 semesters. So my first foray into Hollywood was, a feature film called Deal of the Century, which stars Chevy Chase, the late Gregory Hines, and Sigourney Weaver. There I was basically what we call a distinguished extra, not having, a role, but important because the film was about arms dealing, which Chevy Chase's character was doing. And some of us were buying arms for our country, which I represented in Nigeria.
Sadly.
Yes, we spent 2 weeks in Santa Barbara. So, but that was an extra thing. But after about 2 years at Columbia College, because like I said, my intention was to break into Hollywood. After 2 years in Columbia College, so my break came in 1983. Because all the while I was taking acting workshops, with a Jack Hammond acting workshop while I was going to school. And in there, the teacher called an agent, Sandy, said, I have this African guy, he has a thick accent, but you don't have a talent like him. So maybe you might want to take a look at him. So she came to the workshops, she saw me, she said, I will sign him. So what happened is that in 1983, I came back to Nigeria briefly to retrieve some of my money that was stuck at Central Bank in Lagos. So by the time I got back, I wanted to spend 3 weeks. I ended up spending 3 months. So by the time I got back, Sandy has this audition for commercial waiting for me. And then I auditioned for that TV show that time. I don't know if you know it, because I'm sure you're pretty young.
I'm pretty young. I doubt that I would know it, though.
Yeah, it's called Knight Rider. It's a car that talks with the start. It starts David Hasselhoff. So that commercial was AT&T. Everybody knows AT&T phone, but they didn't know AT&T is a phone company. That they made their own phone. So that time it was a Pacific Bell, for Southern California Pacific Bell. They wanted to split and make AT&T long distance. So I was the first person that did commercial for them. Because I was calling Nigeria. There's another guy calling Italy, the other one calling South America. That was my first foray into Hollywood. And then that was what got me into to be a member of the Screen Actors Guild of America. And then it happens that then I auditioned for Knight Rider, also playing a general from South Africa because it was season 2 of 1984. And then I got that part. So that was how I got fully into Hollywood. Then other roles follows. In 1984, a movie called Into the Night, which was directed by John Landis, who happened to direct Coming to America, because Coming to America is very important. All Nigerians know it.
When you're linking that, yes.
Yes. So how I didn't get to Coming to America, it's another story to prolong it. But so over the years, and in my forest, almost 30 years in Hollywood, I was basically until I did some part until I decided, because I'm also a screenwriter, to start writing script. Then got into the business aspect of it. So the 90s, I was able to explore, all of Hollywood's, how it works. I had gone to Miramax at that time, which was owned by Harvey Weinstein and his brother, Harvey Weinstein and his problem. And then Miramax, other, film, production company, because I wanted to distribute my film. So I was able to, to get to know the intricacies of Hollywood, because I was all throughout the 90s, I was, one of my screenplay was a comedy, that I wanted to finance. So, and I was able to know the business side of it. So, because I was lucky enough that I started my career from the movie capital of the world, which is Hollywood, so I see things on a bigger scale than, than it is in Nollywood.
Now I want to quickly get into the business part of this because you just hinted at that. Now our creative industries, we're talking billions of dollars. Now from your experience, what is the single biggest limitation that's holding us back from really tapping into that resources that we're talking about?
Investment. There's no investment. That's why I'm starting a podcast. I'm launching a podcast next month. Because the president created a creative economy, and because he had said he wants us to get to $1 billion economy by 2030, and then my podcast is creative economy beyond $1 billion by 2030. So what is that there is no drive for investment into the industry. And if you see, the name Nollywood really came to be because Nollywood, there was film before, but Nollywood was established as an industry in 1992 to 2000. That's when it really came to be Nollywood. I was reading about it in Hollywood that time. Now, there is no much investment and there is no drive to create investment into this country. You cannot get, a big picture like Bollywood. Bollywood is over 102 years old. Nollywood came to establish in 1875. So in essence, Nollywood had just started. We are still like a drop in the water. We are not there, but there has to be a drive for the investment. And you cannot leave it, for the government. Now, since I came back, I have not seen the government that create, because what we did, that you have to create the environment to drive, domestic investors before you can think of foreign investors. So this government, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's government now went as well to create a creative economy under the Ministry of Art and Culture. It's been Minister Musawa, she's doing a good job. I don't know her background in film industry, but she's doing a good job. But if you look at the creative economy has taken a back seat to art and culture, to culture and tourism. It has taken a backseat. I'm hoping, my prayer is that since the president has taken this initiative by creating this, because it's an agency there, I hope that, hopefully if he comes back 2020, he will go ahead and create Ministry of Art and Creative Economy.
Wouldn't that be multiplying? Wouldn't that be multiplying all efforts? Basically?
No, because
duplicating efforts.
What it is that, look at the creativity, you merge it into it. It becomes an agency. That's when you really have a drive. When you have a minister, somebody with the knowledge, that's when you have
they're focused
exactly. Growing our own domestic investor. And we have billionaires who can do this. We have billionaires. Dangote, when I came, he was selling sugar, salt, and cement. But look at him now, because he has vision. So you have to create that vision, which is a vision of a Netflix. And I'll get to that. So what it is that this administration is very focused in, I think, the economy from the oil sector, growing it. And the president has said he wants it to be. And I'm saying it can be more than that, because creative economy in Africa, which Nigeria is the capital of creative, is $20 billion economy, in Africa. And that's why this Hollywood actor, Idris Elba, I don't know if you know him. Okay. He's moving to Africa, in the next 4 years, because he wants to create soundstage, because he said it has not been tapped into. He wants to create sound stages all over Africa. He's starting from Tanzania, and Ghana. Now he's starting from Tanzania. What did Tanzania government did? They partnered with him, gave him hectares of land. And then what happened is that what the Tanzania government is doing right now, they are sending their students to South Korea, because in Africa there is no university, bias in creative economy.
That's focused exactly. The creative.
Which was, I've written this proposal for that, because proposal for the establishment of University of Cinematic and Creative Arts. As if I knew this was coming years ago when I wrote this proposal. I'm still working. It's a partnership there. So now you talk about how do you make it? How come we're still limited? I've seen that the highest budget film that was ever made was the one financed by, what is the name of that film? It was one financed by Netflix, and it's $1 million. $1 $1 million is an upcoming name actor in Hollywood salary. How do we get these people involved? Now, I don't know if you know, the president has prepared $200 million, into inject into the industry, into Hollywood. I mean, so what it's been done now. So to start with, I'm not in the business of knowing that government is seen to financing film, because American government never had anything to do with Hollywood.
Okay.
Never.
So you're saying it's not like the Nigerian government will be the ones financing the films.
So now, this money, this is if I'm to say how it should be expended, I will break this money into three. To encourage investment, okay, I'll put $100 million on the side. $50 million will go for establish account for endowments fund for the arts. You see, $50 million will be the start of infrastructure into the country. What the government will do to encourage investors is that the government will establish a film completion bond company. This will encourage investors. I will engage the central bank. You said a film completion bond. Completion bond. Yes. What does the film completion bond do? They are the one that makes that police the budget. When you make a budget, 10% of your budget is your bond. They look your day-to-day, they look after the investor to make sure you don't go over budget, you don't go and you go out of schedule without finishing the film, whereby you cannot run back to the investors and say, oh, I need more money. I'll give you a case example. Spike Lee, of course, you know him. When he was making Malcolm X, Warner Brothers gave him $25 million, which they know that money is not enough. But they hand it to him because I don't know where they expect him to fail. He's not going to turn it down. So he took the money and he started shooting. He has finished it. Then post-production, no money. So one day the bond company just came and said, okay, everybody, you are fired. We are taking over the film. So that's because he cannot go back. So what Pascal has to do, he has to call Bill Cosby, Janet Jackson, Magic Johnson, K. Jordan, and others.
Let's fund this.
Yes, let's fund this. Is our film. There's no equity because it's a studio film, but they will take it from me. And these people say, sure. That's how they came in. The Warner Brother came and saw the rough court, and they told one company, okay, now you have done your goodbye. Let him complete his film. So back to the point. When we establish this, you give investors, give them a courage to come into it. So when you engage CBN, to create the entertainment division, then CBN will engage commercial banks, 2 or 3 banks that has enough liquidity to also open a creative economy department. Send the people to UK, if it's Los Angeles, I'll direct them to train. There's how to finance films. Bank of His Industry is in there. You also, engage them. Now, when you do this film, you package this film because this money some already got. And others are not going to get. So you are disadvantaged of that. How do you create a level playing field for everybody?
Hold on, that's the question we're going to answer when we come back. Yes, we're going to be taking a break right now. And when we come back, we'll know how to create that level playing field and how more young people can really make it in this creative industry, because we have a lot of creative people. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. We're still talking creative economy. We're talking about something that can really change the lives of the young people in Nigeria. And I'm still here with Mr. Saliu Yakub, who's an expert in the film industry. We were talking about creating that level playing field. Yeah. That's where we should start from right now.
Okay. Now, once these banks, this is like giving money to filmmakers, but not actually giving them money because they have to earn it. So once you establish this thing here, this $100 million that I say you put away that time, that's where the money is going to be. So it's going to be by merit. How good is your script? Where is your distribution outlet? Who is starting it? How viable is this film that you make money? Then you have a completion bond. So you have experts in there, that will go through all this list. Whoever films, what is your budget? Can we afford the budget? So it's by merit. So you have opened the floodgate, for talents now to go ahead, and try to get financing. Then what you also do in this one now is got to be a drive to create infrastructure in the country. As it is, there's no structure completely. So every production company is individually owned. And the disadvantage is the actors. The actors has disadvantage in it. Because there's lack of structure, so the actors, there's no health insurance. Since I came by, I know how many actors have died, or how many have to go back.
Without any insurance, no coverage.
They don't get residuals. I can show you this envelope here. These are residual check of work I did in the 80s from different studios being sent to me, but more than 40 years ago. So actors don't get residual, there's no health. Then talk about retirement. You don't have all this because you don't have structure. Who's to negotiate it? The Screen Actors Guild of Nigeria. Who do they negotiate it with? Is it Mr. Labaja who's kind enough to give you part later? You're going to be asking for, for residual. So what he needs to do is to create structure. How do you create structure? You have to have establishment. What is established? Big studios. You have not individually owned. Big studio. Who can form this studio?
Nationally owned.
Nationally owned. Not federal government, individual. Okay. Government can own this way,
government companies,
yes, as partnership. You have 2 or 3 or 4 studios, to open on this. That will be a start. That's the start of the structure in the country. And you have to make big film. Nollywood will produce volumes, but not a lot of big budget. That's the difference between Hollywood and Bollywood, away from Nollywood. Bollywood now produce films of $100 million or high-tech, high-octane action film. Yeah. We don't have that money to do here. Who is to finance this? We're not going to. President Tinubu is not going to be doling out $200 million every year. We have to create that open forum for investors to come in. Then we go for the foreign investor, the FDIs, the diaspora investor into this sector. This is why I suggested Ministry of Creative Arts is very necessary, not just an agency.
So you are saying Nigeria must create that ministry?
We have to create that ministry.
And then the university also.
Exactly. Exactly. We have to create it, for you to have a drive. For the Nigerian, who has enough money. And we have billionaires here, it.
So let's bring in the guys like Netflix, social media. Where do they play a role? People are doing a lot of skits and all that. How do we juxtapose this and bring them into the same full collective?
Yeah, Netflix, we have to engage them, not just to distribute film or give little money.
For feature films or something, yes.
We have to establish partnership with them. If you know the history of Netflix, 25 years ago, Netflix just started. By this guy and his partner, Mark Randolph, and what is his first name? They started this with how much? With this guy invested $2.5 million. That innovative idea and vision, have a vision where you go, and believe in India. So we have to engage, Netflix in this industry. Netflix is here, Hulu is here. We have to bring them into partnership in this. We need big sound stages. We need post-production facilities. And the good thing about this, when we have this, trust me, Hollywood will come. Now, Hollywood goes to South Africa for post-production to shoot a lot of film there. Why? Because they have big sound stages. The film I wanted to do, Dick Tiger, which was, a $7 million budget, in a post-production facility in South Africa, was giving me an investment in post-production, period, no cash, but all my post-production, they will finance it, So I still needed cash, which brought me to Nigeria in the first place, So when you have to have all this establishment, and how do you make the investors believe that this is going to last more than oil? Whether we like it or not, oil will dry up one day. You know it. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Hollywood has been there for over 150 years. Nollywood will not dry up. Talents will come and go.
Even things like gaming have started bringing so much more money than so many other things that we are really focusing on. But now, beyond the actors and musicians, what are the other opportunities for especially young Nigerians when it comes to this industry that you're really thinking about, the creative economy? The way it's being put on paper, the way it's being said, what really are the opportunities available for the young people?
Well, the opportunity is basically, I would say, they will engage, get the education. 3-6 months, crash course in academy, it's not going to cut it. You get the basic education. This university is a 4 years, degree education. And what I did with this proposal is that I wrote it with a studio attached to it. It's going to be called a New Century, studio. It's attached to it. Whereby the studio is going to be functioning like one studio. It's not going to be owned. Eventually, it will go IPO. It will be owned by investors. So there will be ample opportunity behind the camera. A lot for the youths. To really get engaged. Not necessarily you have to be,
VFX,
exactly,
many other areas,
exactly.
Sound,
Gaming is very big.
Of course, I just said that.
Yes,
yeah, gaming is really big.
It's very big, and you have all sorts of gaming with our own African contents. That can be very. So there are so many variations as how to get this young is involved. To get them because what is in our advantage is that we have so many of them. And if you look at skits, we have so many talent there, even though some of them are really silly anyway. Yeah. But I see so many talent. And I'm like, why are these not engaged? Now, you look at our musician. How come no musician has been able to cross over to Nollywood? Because there's no establishment for it.
Basically, I want to first ask you if you truly believe that this is workable in the coming years, one, and then you just tie to how this repositions Nigeria as a nation itself.
Yes, it's workable. It's not going to be overnight because in Nigeria we have a knack of being in a rush. No, it's not going to happen in a night. It's a very conscious, planning and trying to get. The core thing is that you have to get our domestic investor believe that this industry will be the main core of Nigeria economy, for years and years to come. So it's very workable. Once we get these people, because that's where it comes to, investors, creating infrastructure by, certain establishment, not just by the government, but by individual, people with money. It's making them believe that this industry needs them. When you make them believe, foreign investors will come.
All right.
Because in a nutshell, that's basically what. All
right. We must thank you, Mr. Saliu Yakub, for coming and your insights and candor. It was very enlightening.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here.
All right. Hopefully we'll get you back again.
Yeah, definitely. Because I have a lot, but which again, it's going to be on the podcast. So I don't want to
we will share in all that.
Yes, definitely.
All right.
Yes.
All right, and that's the beam for today. We're going to be leaving you with our top 5 videos as usual. I am Soonest Nathaniel, reminding you, stay curious, stay informed, stay engaged, and keep beaming your lights where it matters the most. May this great nation continue to rise and flourish.
Yes.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Yes.
Cheers. This week, we begin our countdown with a clip in which Governor Seyi Makinde asserts that Nyesom Wike has the right to support President Tinubu ahead of 2027, adding that, however, he would not be joining the bandwagon.
The real issue is that Wike would like to support the president for 2027. That's fine. It is within his right to do that. But also some of us that want to, ensure that democracy survives in Nigeria. We don't drift into a one-party state, and we want to ensure that PDP survives. It should also allow us to do our own thing.
In 4th place, we hear Dr. Charles Omole, a lawyer and writer whose recent book on Muhammadu Buhari stirred some controversy, stating that he would release more things in the new book if the cabal pushes too hard.
For those who want to be honest.
Coming third on our list, the federal government hails the U.S. strike in Sokoto, saying the operation was a joint effort.
It's Nigeria that provided the intelligence. I was on the phone yesterday for 19 minutes with Secretary of State Marco Rubio of the United States.
In 2nd place, we stay with the security situation in Nigeria as more details regarding the U.S. military strikes on ISIS terrorists continue to emerge. At the top spot on our list this week, we still have discussions around the Nigerian security crisis, and we hear an analyst state that the killings have to stop, adding that this is the best gift Nigerians can get for the new year. That's it on our countdown today. Join us next week for more.